آله وصحبه ومن اتبع هداه. Yes, my brothers, we'll begin inshallah ta'ala from where we left off last class and reading through Shaykh ibn Uthaimeen rahmatullah alayhi's explanation of the method of Aajrummiyyah in Arabic grammar and in Nahu. And currently we got to the point, at least in the area where Ibn al-Ajurrum, he said, وَأَقْسَامُهُ أَرْبَعَةٌ, he said, and it is in four categories. أَقْسَامُهُ أَرْبَعَةٌ. Inshallah ta'ala, like I said, I apologize for the late start, and we'll have to keep it brief in order to be fair to the brothers, inshallah, who I know it's very late where you guys are. So we'll hopefully we'll compensate, inshallah, another way. By maybe adding some time at another time, inshallah, where it's more convenient. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man ittaba'a hudah. Ibn al-Ajurrum, he says, rahmahullah, wa aqsamuhu arba'ah, and Shaykh Uthaimeen, about this particular point, which was the beginning of page 45, and we finished it already. He says, meaning aqsamul i'rabi arba'ah. Al-i'rab, the changes that take place at the end of a word. And we said that these changes relate to meaning. And the meaning of i'rab is to make your intention and make your inner feelings plain and clear. And i'rab, as it relates to the Arabic language, means the changes that take place at the ending of the words, and by that, the meaning of that particular word is also made clear. Is that word the one that did the action or had the action done upon it, for example? So changes to a word will give us a better understanding of what that word actually means. Its position in a sentence will give us a better understanding of what that word actually means. The Arabs, when they study the Arabic language extensively, as is known as at-tatabbu' wal-istiqra', then they realized, the scholars of Islam, scholars of the language, they realized that Arabic language does not depart from these four aspects. What are those four aspects? Ibn al-Ajurrum said, raf'un wa nasbun wa khafdun wa jazm. These are the four things. Okay? What usually has a dhamma, what usually has a fatha, what usually is a kasrah, and what usually is a sukoon. The reason I say usually, as you will see later on, inshallah, that there are other ways of recognizing these four states. Let's refer to them as states. In the state of being marfu'. And as Shaykh says, imma marfu'atun, aw mansubatun, aw makhfudatun, aw majzumatun. Al-kalimat, the words of the Arabic language are either going to be marfu', mansub, makhfud, or majzoom. Okay? And this is one of these four states, usually, and let's say the base form of recognizing these four states is either by a dhamma, in the case of marfu'a, like I said, a fatha in the case of mansuba, a kasra in the case of makhfuda, and a sukoon in the case of majzuma. And inshallah later on you will see how this is also, this has a variant to it, or variants to them. Okay. And then Shaykh Uthaimeen rahimahullah gave some examples. He says, al-raf', he gave an example of how a noun appears in the marfu' form. He said, qama al-rajulu. And he showed us that this word, which is a fa'il, it comes with a dhamma on it, that's marfu'. Then he showed us nasb, akramtu rajula. This is an example where somebody is honoring al-rajula. I am honoring al-rajul, akramtu, I honored the man. Al-rajul over here has a fatha on the end, and this is mansub. And makhfud or khaf, this is the example that has a harful jar, or one possible way of having a khaf, and he made up a sentence that has a harful jar, which will force the kasra at the end of rajul. So marartu, I passed by, birrajuli, I passed, birrajuli, by the man, with the kasra. Jazm, as we have learnt or will learn, that it doesn't relate to nouns, and it relates specifically to verbs. So the Shaykh gave an example with a sukoon on top of a verb, lam yakum zaydun. Zayd didn't stand. Okay. So then, if you may remember, Ibn Malik's statement, وَكُلُّ حَرْفٍ مُسْتَحِقٌ لِلْبِنَاءِ. Can someone tell me the significance of this line of poetry, please? وَكُلُّ حَرْفٍ مُسْتَحِقٌ لِلْبِنَاءِ. Shaykh Uthaimeen mentioning that line of poetry at this particular stage. Absolutely. Line of poetry, Ibn Malik intended to show that all of the huruf are considered to be mabniyah. Okay, all of the huruf are to be mabniyah. All of them are, let's say, static. Right? They do not experience any change as they were announced, as they were created. That is their first and final state. So no position in a sentence will cause them to be changed. So huruf are all mabni. Going on to the next page, and this is actually revision what we're doing, just to keep you guys up to speed. Okay, Brother Imran, at the moment there's nothing, there's no noise in the background over here. I'm sitting in a quiet place, so if you don't mind, just have a no sneezing taking place in my room or in my area either. So just check your mics, or maybe somebody else has been given a mic on by mistake, possibly. Yeah. Okay. So where were we? Mabni laysa bi mu'rab. Exactly. So then the Shaykh says at the beginning over here, al-mabni is not mu'rab. These are two opposites. One is mabni, which is the huruf, all of them, and the other one is mu'rab, which is the rest of the words, the asma and the af'al, except that some of the asma, as you will learn, and some of the af'al, as you will learn, are also mabniyah. Okay, so here we have the Shaykh telling us quite explicitly. He said down here, ثلث اللغة العربية مبني. So 1/3 of the Arabic language is static, is mabni. So it doesn't enter the whole discussion of i'rab, doesn't enter into that portion of the Arabic language. Okay. Then the Shaykh said, okay, so we only have to deal with the asma and the af'al, nouns and the verbs. And if that's the case, then the Shaykh gave a logical argument, and he said that these four signs, which is raf', nasb, these four states, raf', nasb, jazm, khafd and jazm, they relate to asma and af'al, nouns and verbs. But there were some which were particular for some, and others which were general for all. Can brothers quickly recall and remind us what that was about? The Shaykh was saying that some of these states are for some of those categories, and some are for all. You can quickly mention that for us. Jazakumullah khairan. Ahsan, Abdullah. Obviously, you've been revising. Jazakallah khairan. And we should all be like you, inshallah. Keep it in the front of our minds, keep revising, and have everything ready. Absolutely. Khafd is particularly for a noun, because right at the beginning of the book, on page 6 or page 5, 7 or 9, in that area, Ibn al-Aajrummiyyah, he said from the alamat al-asma. He said from the alamat al-asma is alif wal-lam. He said al-khafd. He said dukhul harf al-jar, yeah, and tanween. So khafd, if it is one of the signs of a noun, then that means any word that has a kasrah or khafd on it, it's going to be a noun, which means it can't be a verb. So a verb will not accept a kasrah. جيد. And something else that we learnt, the Shaykh mentioned about the sukoon, didn't he? What did the Shaykh say about sukoon? Yes, as I've already mentioned, jazm is for verbs only. So therefore, if you see a verb, if you see a word that has a sukoon at the end of it, then you know straight away that this is not a noun, because nouns do not accept a sukoon. Nouns do not accept a sukoon. Which leaves us with what two states? We dealt with khafd, we dealt with jazm, which leaves us with what? Now, the dhamma and the fatha, which is the rafa and the nasb, these two, they are available for both asma and af'al. Yeah, they are available for both asma and af'al. Jayid. Then the Shaykh, he mentioned this, a possible question that somebody might ask. If somebody says, there is a noun, there is an ism which I found that has a sukoon on the end of it, that is the word man. Okay? And this was the point that near the end of last lesson I was trying to give you some type of a roundup and also a prelude to the next class, where I was telling you that the asma, not all of them are mu'raba. Not all of them take i'rab. Some of the asma are mabniya. Okay? Whereas the majority take i'rab, there are those that are mabni. And there are a number of categories, possibly 10, if not more. And let's say 10 categories, inshallah ta'ala. And amongst them, for example, asma al-istifham. Okay? The mechanisms used to ask questions, these are all nouns, except hal and the alif, as far as I know. And also the dama'ir. The dama'ir also, these are asma. Naam. And also the ism or al-asma al-mawsula, alladhi, wallati, walladani, wallatani, walla'i. Okay, all of these are asma, they are nouns, but they are mabni, they are fixed. And also this example in the Quran, so yeah, I seem to have circled the wrong one. It's not this one I want to circle, rather it's the next one. وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ مَنْ إِنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِقِنْطَارٍ يُؤَدِّهِ إِلَيْكَ. And amongst the people of the book are those people who, if you were to entrust them with a treasure, with a huge treasure, then they would give it back to you. They would fulfill their trust and return it when you asked for it. So this man over here, this is ism mawsul. It means alladhi. And which is the meaning of who. So it's an ism. But the Shaykh says, if somebody says, look, I found an ism and it's got a sukoon on the end of it, the Shaykh says, هذا ليس بجزم. This is not jazm. This is bina. It's mabni. And as the Shaykh said, al-mabni ليس له دخل بالإعراب إطلاقا. As the Shaykh said, al-mabni mayyitun la yataharrak. It's like a dead person not moving. That is how the Shaykh chose to describe al-mabni. Okay. So the Shaykh says, وَلِهَذَا مَنْ تقول مثلا جاء مَنْ نُحِبُّهُ. The Shaykh gives now 3 examples of 3 different states. He gives a state which is marfu', he gives a state which is mansu', and he gives a state which is makhfud or majrur, each of them using the word man. So ja'a man nuhibbuhu, the person or the one that we love came. And this one, akrim man tuhibbuhu, honor the one that you love. And this one, undur ila man tuhibbuhu, look at the one you love, the person you love. Okay, these are all asma' masula. Here the Shaykh says, in the first example, man is fa'il. So the fa'il's condition usually is marfu'. And in this situation, man is maf'ulun bihi. and the maf'ul bihi is mansoob, as the brothers know. And in the third example, the man is after harf al-jar, so it's in a position of being majrur. At the same time, فَلَمْ تَتَغَيَّرْ, go down to the bottom, تَتَغَيَّرْ مَنْ فِي الْأَمْثِلَةِ الثَّلَاثَةِ. In the three examples, man didn't change. جاءت في محل الرفع, didn't change. جاءت في محل النصب, لم تتغير, didn't change. وجاء في محل الجر, لم تتغير, didn't change. لماذا? Why, brothers? Why didn't it change in those three different states? Quite clearly, because man, along with other words, nouns are mabniya, absolutely in one. Okay. Then, Shaykh Uthaimeen concludes first and says, إذن في باب الإعراب سقطت الحروف. In the discussion of إعراب, all of the huruf have been removed. وكل المبنيات من الأسماء والأفعال, as well as all of the static words from the nouns and from the verbs, all of the mabniyat from the asma and from the af'al. So what's left? What's therefore left? Logically speaking, what's left now with us? If the huruf have gone, and the mabniyat from the asma have gone, and the mabniyat from the af'al have gone, what's left for us to deal with? Look, I mean, absolutely Nihal's got the better answer about that. The Mu'rab words of the nouns and the verbs, basically the rest of the verbs, the rest of the language. The rest of the language, you can witness a change at the end of each word. Okay? And these are known as the al-kalimat al-mu'rabah wal-mu'rabat. Okay. Ibn al-Aajrummiyyah says, فَلِلْأَسْمَاءِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ الرَّفْعُ وَالنَّصْبُ وَالْخَفْضُ وَلَا جَزْمَ فِيهَا. Speaks about the nouns. He says, nouns have raf', nasb, and khafd. And there's no jazm in the asma. وَلَا جَزْمَ فِيهَا. Okay, so that's the asma. Then he said, وَلِلْأَفْعَالِ من ذلك الرفع والنصب والجزم ولا خفض فيها. So jazm is excluded. لا جزم. Jazm is excluded from the asma, and khafd is excluded from the verbs of the absolutely from the af'al. جيد. Shaykh Uthaimeen says, اشتركت الأسماء والأفعال في شيئين من الأقسام الأربعة وهما الرفع والنصب. He said that the verbs and the nouns, they shared, of these four signs of i'rab, they shared two of them, the raf' and the nasb. واختصت الأسماء بالخفض, and the asma, they were particularly, they had the khafd specifically for them, and the af'al, they had the jazm specifically for them. So the verbs have jazm specifically for it, the nouns have khafd specifically for it, and whereas the raf' and nasb are open to both and to all. The Shaykh says, now we want to give an example. نأتي بمثال فيه الرفع والنصب في الفعل والاسم. Shaykh wants to give an example of a rafa' and a nasb, because we said that rafa' and nasb, they appear in both verbs and nouns. True? Okay, Shaykh's going to give an example. الرجل يقوم. Okay, here's a noun, الرجل, and it finishes with a dhamma. Why does it finish with a dhamma? Because it is the beginning, the first noun in a sentence. The first noun in a sentence always finishes with a dhamma. That's actually more to do with the issue of alif and lam, Abu Abdullah. Alif and lam means, yes, it finishes with one dhamma, not two. Hasn't got tanween, yes. But why not fatha, for example? Why not kasrah? Reason? Because it is at the beginning of a sentence. we're going to learn later on that this is called mubtada. This is the beginning of a sentence. The noun at the beginning of a sentence is called mubtada. Okay. الرجل يقوم. The second word is a verb. يقوم, stands or is standing. And the verb also has a dhamma at the end of it. So two words, both of them have dhamma at the end of them, and one is a noun, الرجل, the other one is a verb, يقوم, and this is مركب مفيد بالوضع. Yeah, الرجل يقوم, the man is standing. Shaykh says الرجل اسم مرفوع is a noun which is مرفوع, and يقوم فعل مرفوع is a verb which is مرفوع. So both of them share the issue of being مرفوع. Now Shaykh can give an example where he says وتقول لن نكرم. Shaykh can give an example now of a nasb where mansub is happening in the case of a verb as well as a noun. لن نكرم المهمل. So lan, you're going to learn that this harf, this harf enters upon verbs, and when it enters upon a verb, it turns into mansub. Okay, so what might normally be nukrimu has become nukrima because of lan. And al-muhmila, this is a noun which followed the verb, and it is maf'ulun bihi. We will not honor the careless person, al-muhmil, the careless person. So the careless person in this case is a maf'ulun bihi. He is the person that's being referred to as the one that will not be honored. Okay, so both of them have ended in a fatha. Both of them are mansub. Shaykh says nukrima. Fi'lun is a verb, and it is mansub. Al-muhmila, it finishes with a fatha, is a noun, it's ism, and is also mansub. So therefore the Shaykh has given an example where rafa and nasb, and the Shaykh made it easy for us. He didn't give us two different examples, one where the noun is marfu', and another example where the verb is marfu'. Rather, he gave us both of those things in one example to make it quick and easy for us to understand and to access. Okay. Now, the Shaykh is talking about the مجزوم and the مخفوض, the khafd, مجرور. تقول لا تنظر إلى المهمل. لا تنظر, this is a command. And in a command, the verb is going to finish with the sukoon. So, because it's a sukoon, it means it's a verb. لا تنظر, do not look. إلى حرف الجر المهمل. This is the noun because the harf al-jar is there, alif al-lam is there, kasra is there. So there's a word that has a sukoon. We know it's a verb because nothing else takes a sukoon in the Arab form. And there's a kasra. We know that is a noun because nothing else takes a kasra. Okay. So the Shaykh says تنظر is a verb, fi'l, and it is مجزوم. إلى المهمل. المهمل اسم. And it is مخفوض. So the Shaykh concludes and says الخفض خاص بالأسماء. Kasra is particularly for the nouns. والجزم خاص بالأفعال. Sukoon is specific and particular for the verbs. Again, we're saying kasra and sukoon, we're over generalizing because that is the base state or basic way of representing the state. The main way of representing the state of majroor is kasra. The main way of representing sukoon or jazm is with the sukoon. And like I said, you're going to learn other examples of how those are being represented later, inshallah. Okay, let's keep going. Al-Khulasa, the Shaykh says, the summary of this, أن أقسام الإعراب أربعة, that the categories of إعراب are four: رفع ونصب وخفض وجزم، وأن الأسماء والأفعال تشترك في الرفع والنصب and that all of the nouns and verbs, they share the two states of رفع and nasb. وتنفرد الأسماء بالخفض, and the nouns have particularly the khafd with them. وليس فيها جزم, and there is no jazm in them. وتنفرد الأفعال بالجزم, and the أفعال have the jazm in particular with them. وليس فيها خفض, and there is no khafd in the أفعال. Shaykh asked the question, وهل يدخل في هذه الأقسام الحرف? Quickly, brothers. And why or why not? Is the harf included in this categorization? Why or why not? Quite simply, because they are mabni, ahsant, and absolutely above them, they are mabni. So the Shaykh says, لأنه لا يتغير. Okay. How about the al-asma al-mabniya? How about the nouns which are mabniya? Do they enter into the categorization? Absolutely not, because mabni doesn't change. The Shaykh asked, he didn't say the asma generally, he said al-asma al-mabniya, the mabni nouns. Like, for example, asma al-mawsula, asma al-istifham, asma al-ishara, and which is hadi and tilka and dhalika, and yes, and the dhama'ir. The dhama'ir. Inshallah ta'ala, we're going to move on from there. So the Shaykh says, in concluding, he says, لا تدخل لأن المبني لا يتغير. هل تدخل? How about the verbs which are mabni? How about the verbs which are mabni? There are some verbs, like for example, you have the verbs which are mabni, mainly referred to fi'l madi. Okay, fi'l madi is mabni in the Arabic language. I'm not sure if the Shaykh has mentioned it already, to be honest. If he's touched upon it, but the Shaykh is going to give it away soon if he hasn't already. Al-fi'l al-madi is mabniyun. It is static. It ends in فتحة all the time, unless it is joining to a dhamir muttasil, or which might be, or if it's joining to waw al-jama'ah, the waw of plurality. Whenever, so the fi'l madi is actually fi'l madi, yes, all of them. All of them, what about all of the dhama'ir, or all of the fi'l madis, af'al al-madiyah? Maybe I got your question a little bit late. I'm not sure what it's relating to. Now, all the af'al al-madiyah. Fi'l madi is always mabni, Abu Abdullah, always mabni, okay? So, the Shaykh says over here, هل تدخل الأفعال المبنية? Do the mabni verbs come into our discussion over here? Obviously not, because المبني لا يتغير. نعم. لأن الأفعال المبنية لا تتغير. Shaykh says, إذن لا يدخل إلا الأسماء والأفعال المعربة فقط. Only the changeable verbs and nouns are what we are discussing here. ولذا نقول إن الإعراب تغيير أواخر الكلمة لاختلاف العوامل الداخلة عليها لفظا أو تقديرا. The Shaykh concludes this part by reminding us of what was already said right at the beginning, is that the definition of I'rab in the first place is the changes that take place in the I'rab. I'rab is تغيير أواخر الكلمة، تغيير أواخر الكلمة لاختلاف العوامل الداخلة عليها لفظا أو تقديرا. The changes that take place at the end of the words because of the various factors entering upon the word, linguistic factors, not dialect, not regional factors, and whether that change be something physically that you can witness and experience and pronounce, or it is implied. Examples: قام الرجل قام الرجل. Okay. قام الرجل, brothers. Here's a verb followed by a noun. Shaykh says over here, look, قام. This is a fi'l, and it is madi. And if it is madi, then straight away you know it is mabni. And what is the last letter of that fi'l? Fatha. True? Can you see that verb? It's a fatha. Okay, it has 3 letters on it. It hasn't got a letter at the beginning which is known as the harf al-mudari', which is the alif, or the ya, or the noon, or the ta, the 4 letters of mudari'. It's not yet aqama, or uqim, or nuqim, or nakum. It's simply qama. So the last letter is a fatha. So fi'l madi is mabniyun, and it is always mabniyun ala al-fatha. Okay? And over here it says mabniyun ala al-fath, which is fine to say. They're speaking about the state, not speaking about that particular sign. The name of that particular one that I'm touching right now with this moving dot is called a fatha. Okay? But the state might be considered as al-fath. Okay, mabni, which is why they say mabniyun ala al-fath. Okay, it is static with a fatha at the end of it. وَكُلُّ الْأَفْعَالِ الْمَاضِيَةِ مَبْنِيَّةٌ. And all of the past tense verbs are static, are mabniyya. وَلَا نَقُولُ مَنْصُوب. We don't say it's mansoob only because we saw fatha. It's because a nasb in mansoob is specific to the al-mu'rabat, the words which experience change. If we say it's mansoob, that means there's going to be a time where it's not mansoob. It has a dhamma, or it has a sukoon, or it has a fatha at different times. But no, fi'l madi, we always have a fatha on it. Okay, of course the Shaykh is going to explain to us, unless there is a damir muttasil, like to, you know, to, or dhahabtu, which has a slightly different ruling, and it's also going to be discussed. As you can see now, we are every half a line, every 1/3 of a line has got some knowledge in it, and really the note-taking needs to increase. The note-taking needs to be organized, my brothers and listeners, inshallah, and the revision has to really also be needs to increase. Okay, I trust, I'm sure most of you are doing, alhamdulillah, a lot of revision and checking over your work, but you have to make a point of doing that even more in order to make sure that this stays with you, inshallah ta'ala. So the Shaykh is including and increasing in the knowledge time, line by line, rather 1/3 of a line by 1/3 of a line. Right? Things are getting slightly intense. So it's important to pay attention and to get as much as we can from it. Just to conclude that example there, the Shaykh says, qama is fi'l madi mabni, and all of the past tense verbs are mabniyya upon fatha, and we don't say mansoob. Why don't we say mansoob? Qama, it's got fatha on the end of it. Brothers, why don't we say this is mansoob? Why did we say mabni? The fatha is there. Why is the fatha there? Why did someone call it mabni? Why did someone say this is not mansoob? Absolutely, because on a fi'l madi, ahsanta akhi muzammil an-nihal, on a fi'l madi, there is no i'rab, and whatever the end letter of that verb is, there's mabni on that end letter, on that sign. So it's a fatha. It says qama, and it's always going to be a fatha if it's not joining on to any other dhamir, any other pronoun, like dhahabtu, for example, or dhahabu. Okay, it's always going to have a fatha at the end of it. So it's mabni ala fatha, and it's not called mansoob, or with a fatha on it, because it's not mu'rab aslan. In the first place, it's not mu'rab, it's mabni. Alright, in the same sentence, the Shaykh gave the example, qama rajulu. Ar-rajulu is fa'il, he's the person that did the action, and he is marfu'. And the dhamma is apparent, to be seen. Al-marfu' is marfu'. How do you know it's marfu', or what's the sign of it being marfu'? What can you see there, brothers? Dhamma. Is the dhamma hidden? Is it taqdeeran or is it lafdan? Lafdan, it's visible. So, visible, the word for visible is dhahira. So, marfu'un, absolutely, is lafdan nihal. So, you say marfu'un bid-dhamma al-muqaddara or al-dhamma al-dhahira? Dhamma al-dhahira. Why do we say dhahira? Because, why do we say dhahira? Because we can see it, absolutely, because it's visible, because it's lafdan. Okay. Where is it? Is it visible? Is it visible at the end of the word? Now it is. So, بِالضَّمَّةِ الظَّاهِرَةِ عَلَى آخِرِهِ at the last letter. بِالضَّمَّةِ الظَّاهِرَةِ عَلى آخِرِهِ. So that's how the Shaykh has given us an example of how I'rab takes place. Okay. So, in this same example, the Shaykh is taking a little bit more discussion, showing the difference between the Mabni and the Mu'rab in the Fi'l and the Ism. And inshallah we're going to discuss this particular portion of that same example next lesson as we overstep the mark and gone past our time limit, even as we particularly started late. And so we'll stop there and conclude that small section inshallah ta'ala. Next time, this moves on the accent is apparent. Well done. Yes, Imran. Go ahead, Akhi Kareem. والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Go ahead, Akhi Imran. You said that you had a general question. Go ahead, no problem, inshallah. Will I be speaking in Arabic also? Allahu A'lam. I know you've been teaching. This is the lesson going to be conducted, teaching, using Arabic. Ideally, this text, Arabic language should be taught in Arabic. I believe that. And if I was going to teach this in Arabic, then I don't believe that I would be the right teacher to teach it. The reason why you brothers are taking advantage of me is because I have the English language, and I was able to study some Arabic at the university at Jamia Islamiyya, alhamdulillah. So being able to access this knowledge and understand what Shaykh Uthaimeen is saying and being able to explain it to the brothers, so we're creating some type of an overview. As for Arabic, doing it in Arabic, I would suggest that you brothers, read the book yourself, listen to the Shaykh's recordings yourself, and currently on Mu'rab and Mabni, there is a Dawra Ilmiyyah, Ta'seeliyah taking place, and they are doing Aajrummiyyah once a week, I think on Wednesdays possibly, and regardless of what day they're doing it, the recordings are available. All you have to do is go to the Mu'rab website and listen in Arabic and go through it. So when inshallah ta'ala we begin book 1, inshallah, the Medina books, I believe the Medina books I will be doing them in Arabic. Why? Because we would have started right from the very beginning, and the explanation is quite simplistic and quite straightforward. So the Medina books will be taking place in Arabic, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And therefore the speaking will be minimal, just enough for the brothers to understand, what we're doing, and what they have to do. As for this particular book here, I'm not on that level. I'm not going to put myself on that level that I'm going to start explaining to you Shaykh Uthaimeen's words, which are in Arabic, explain them to you in Arabic. Now his words, mashallah, are already explained and they are clear. They are self-explanatory per se. So I would say to you, if you are on that level, alhamdulillah, the Arabic is clear and understood, then, maybe you don't need to be in this class. Maybe you just join, or do this as supplementary, join the class, inshallah ta'ala, which is being broadcast on Mu'rab and Mabni, and listen to the Shaykh's recordings of this book, and also read through the book and understand it, yourself. Good, mashallah. And if you have questions, particular issues, ask. And if I have the answer, I would say yes, I will have the answer. If I don't, I would say I don't know. And also, you have the opportunity to ask others if you are able to. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Allah barak feekum, ikhwan. And inshallah ta'ala, till tomorrow, we'll continue from the point that we left off. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.